Aliens send to Earth seeds of giant plants that destroy all living beings on the planet and resurrect the dead.
We will change your environment. You cannot stop us.
The story begins in the small American town of Badger, where a local family is getting ready for dinner. Sitting at the table, they say a prayer, but suddenly the house is shaken by strong tremors. Then the lights go out, followed by an explosion. Soon the family regains consciousness and realizes that the air is polluted. Suddenly, the eldest daughter is not able to breathe and falls unconscious. The same fate befalls the father and mother, but the youngest daughter tries to survive by hiding in a cabinet. The action shifts to New York City. The astrobiologist Dr. Lauren Stone, working for NASA, watches a news program reporting on climate change. Experts claim that by 2030, Earth could face a catastrophe due to global warming. Suddenly, the host interrupts a conversation with a meteorologist due to breaking news about a powerful explosion in the town of Badger. It is unknown whether it was a terrorist attack or a natural disaster. The correspondent reports that there are no survivors in the town after the mysterious explosion. Now, nobody is allowed into the town without protective suits because the air there is polluted with a toxic substance. Lauren turns off the television and goes to take a bath, where memories from her childhood begin to haunt her, involving a journey with her father. Soon, 2 military personnel visit her home and instruct her to accompany them to help investigate the incident in Badger. Reluctantly, Lauren agrees, and they bring her to a military base, where she meets Colonel Roger Emmerich and astrobiologist David Santiago. Emmerich claims that the cause of the explosion was a meteorite the size of a baseball, which released a toxic gas. Additionally, after the impact, the meteorite dissolved into the soil, and geologists could only find a few of its fragments. The colonel assigns Lauren and David to investigate the epicenter of the explosion and provide all the information they can gather. On the way to Badger, David talks about his family, but Lauren looks out the window indifferently and remains silent. Upon arriving, the researchers disappointingly note that there is nothing unusual or noteworthy in the crater. However, suddenly Lauren notices a red sprout in the ground and immediately feels an unexplainable connection to it. Initially, she wants to pick it and keep it, but she changes her mind and doesn't inform the military about her discovery. Back home, Lauren continues to mesmerizingly examine photos of the mysterious plant, and then she searches the internet for information on recent meteorite falls. She discovers that in 2013, a similar case was recorded in the Russian city of Chelyabinsk. By watching an interview with an eyewitness, Lauren learns that no one survived that explosion either, and a mysterious plant grew at the impact site, destroying all life in the vicinity. However, authorities soon cut down the tree and evacuated residents of nearby cities. After watching the video, Lauren seeks more information about this woman but learns that she was shot shortly after the interview. It becomes evident that Russia is hiding something important about the incident in Chelyabinsk. Later, Lauren, David, and other researchers observe the autopsy of Robert, the head of the family affected in Badger. Dr. Paselo and Dr. Hurd make the first incision and are horrified to see an unusual dark blue, shimmering fluid flowing from Robert's body. Then, inexplicably, it returns back into the wound, and suddenly, Robert sits on the autopsy table and stares at one point, not reacting to the words of the stunned scientists. Dr. Paselo carefully examines Robert and finds that he has no pulse and his body is cold. The woman tries to explain to him that he has become a victim of a biological attack, but the man remains silent. Soon, chaos erupts in the hospital. Staff members scream as they rush out of the building. Lauren and her colleagues peek into the morgue and discover that dozens more victims have risen. This incredible news immediately sparks public outrage. In the evening, David suggests that Lauren have a drink together to relieve stress after a tough day, but she asks to be left alone and sinks into her own thoughts. The next day, it is revealed that out of the 1,300 residents of the settlement, only 49 people have risen. One of the scientists explains to the governor that the resurrected residents of Badger were close to the epicenter of the explosion. They not only inhaled toxic gas but also swallowed fragments of the meteorite that spread at the moment of the explosion, triggering a transformation of their internal organs. Thus, a new form of life formed inside these people. Scientists try to establish contact with the resurrected, but they do not respond, only. The scientist claims that all the resurrected, for some reason, turn in one direction. Meanwhile, Lauren tells Colonel Emmerich about a similar case in Russia and asserts that these events are definitely connected and part of someone's plan. However, Emmerich does not believe in Lauren's theory. Later, scientists report to the government about the inexplicable resurrection of the victims from Badger. Upon learning that the DNA of the resurrected is deliberately transforming into some extraterrestrial DNA, politicians suggest burning their bodies and putting an end to it. However, the president wants to hear Lauren's report first. She tells the politicians about a similar case in Chelyabinsk, where authorities, to conceal the truth, burned down the entire village. Initially skeptical, the president soon realizes that there might indeed be a connection between these events. In the evening, Lauren is once again haunted by childhood memories in which her father takes her to a secret place and asks her not to tell anyone about it. Then she returns to the morgue and tries to talk to a resurrected little girl. Lauren shows her favorite childhood book and reveals that she lost her mother at the age of 10. Then David calls her, but she ignores the call, and suddenly, it turns out that the photo of the red sprout on the screensaver triggered a sudden reaction from the resurrected. Lauren calls David and Emmerich to tell them what happened. She suggests that the resurrected need to reach it and asks one of them to be taken to the epicenter of the explosion. Colonel Emmerich refuses Lauren, as no one knows what the resurrected are capable of. He also accuses her of not mentioning the found sprout earlier, but Lauren claims she considered the discovery insignificant. Abruptly, David remarks that adherents of the Islamic faith unfailingly orient themselves toward Mecca during prayer, their revered city. Simultaneously, all those who have been resurrected are inexplicably facing north, where Badger is situated. Soon, their conversation is interrupted by a military personnel who informs them that the mysterious plant has become known to the public. News reports indicate that a substantial extraterrestrial entity with toxic attributes has rapidly expanded at the incident site within a span of 2 days, generating its own atmosphere harmful to human life. Contrary to initial perceptions of a meteorite, it has been revealed that the object is, in fact, an alien seed. Meanwhile, Lauren is captivated, gazing spellbound at the image of the ominous plant and finds herself unable to avert her eyes. Colonel Emmerich eventually agrees to bring Robert to Badger to learn more about the incident. The scientists arrive at the heavily guarded area and freeze in horror at the sight of the plant of unimaginable proportions.
So that's your seedling, huh?
Lauren and David carefully examine the plant, but their colleague suddenly distracts them, advising not to get attached to this huge tree since it is planned to be cut down. Placing the motionless Robert right in front of the tree, scientists and military personnel ponder whether the toxic atmosphere will affect him and decide that it's unlikely. However, to Lauren's immense joy, a few minutes later, the man starts showing signs of life. Opening his huge blue eyes and standing up, he slowly looks around and then announces that he won't go back because he can't survive in the human environment. Later, Lauren addresses a press conference, presenting the theory that by sending the seed to Earth, aliens plan to create a suitable environment for themselves. Meanwhile, a mysterious stranger carefully watches the broadcast of Lauren's speech. The next day, Lauren's father unexpectedly pays her a visit. It seems she's not very delighted to see him. Walking inside, he recalls how, in her childhood, Lauren wanted a laboratory as a gift, and how she and her mother worried about her unhealthy obsession with science and space. Her father confesses that he regrets growing distant from Lauren, but the distressed woman doesn't respond, and he leaves. After some time, preparations are made for contact with Robert. Emmerich wonders why, among many colleagues, he chose her and why he refused to communicate with the others. The colonel hands Lauren a list of questions and orders her to find out what these extraterrestrial entities want. Robert, in his transformed state, reveals that their home is no longer suitable for their kind and that they have started looking for a new planet for life. Earth turned out to be the only place where they could grow a massive tree, so they launched the seed to the coordinates provided by a person calling himself Supernova 94. Moreover, Supernova 94 sought them out and was the first to make contact with them. Their conversation is abruptly interrupted by scientists drilling a hole in the tree. Robert asks Lauren to stop them, but she declares that the tree will be cut down anyway because it poses a threat to Earth. Robert becomes furious and claims that humans cannot stop them. He then reveals that their kind possesses superpowers and immediately confirms his words. Using the power of his mind, he compels one of the scientists who took samples to remove his suit in the contaminated zone, thereby unaliving himself. The military wants to shoot Robert, but he first stuns them and then directs their weapons against each other. After the horrific carnage, only Lauren and David are left alive, hastily fleeing the danger zone. Meanwhile, the Air Forces attempt to destroy Robert with missiles, but suddenly a protective dome appears over the tree, deflecting the missile attacks. We see the unknown man again, listening to the news. When the anchors mention someone named Supernova 94, he freezes, then finds a diary where that very username is written. Soon, mysterious phenomena start occurring worldwide. Crops rot, people hear strange sounds, see toxic clouds, and become victims of inexplicable explosions. It is evident that humanity is on the brink of extinction. Now, representatives of all nations pray, hoping to avert the apocalypse. The military decides to burn all remaining resurrected. Watching the news about the impending end, Lauren heads to her childhood home. She approaches her laboratory and attempts to go inside, but there is a padlock on the door. Glancing at the house once more, she hesitates to enter and talk to her father, who seems very distressed about something. Instead, she decides to look again at the horrifying tree. Along the way, she reflects on many crucial questions that have haunted her throughout her life.
The world is coming to an end, but why is it that I am feeling a sense of relief?
Lauren feels that she has now been freed from all suffering and that the truth she always sought somewhere in the atmosphere is now very close. Arriving at the site, Lauren puts on a protective mask and heads toward Robert, who is still near the tree. She notices that the plant has changed, and Robert explains that it is undergoing the necessary transformation. He ominously declares that the time has come. Robert confesses that the only hope for the existence of their kind was that red sprout, which Lauren allowed to grow. In other words, it was thanks to Lauren that the aliens were able to take over Earth. He also reminds the shocked woman of a day from the past. He extends his hand, and memories flash before her eyes. We again see young Lauren with her father going to a secret place. It turns out that a UFO was discovered in Alaska at that time. Lauren's father, a senator, visits a base near the incident site and asks his daughter to wait for him in the corridor. The girl goes to the restroom and overhears a conversation about an extraterrestrial being, incredibly powerful, hostile, but intelligent, trying to plant some entity. However, the earthly atmosphere prevented it from completing the task. Young Lauren miraculously gains entry to the room housing the alien, confined within a capsule. Approaching it with curiosity, she extends her hand to touch the glass. In a dreadful turn of events, something inexplicable occurs. Her DNA undergoes a transformation, leading to her eventual metamorphosis into a being that is half alien and half human. The girl loses consciousness, but soon she is found and quickly taken away from the capsule. However, her father is only told that his daughter was in the bathroom, concealing the truth about contact with an extraterrestrial organism. But soon, the girl's extraordinary abilities manifest. At the age of 8, she creates a detailed rocket blueprint, stops communicating with peers, and delves into science and thoughts about extraterrestrial life. At school, she calls herself an alien and claims she wants to go home. One day, she invents a device designed for interstellar communication and dubs it Supernova 94, inspired by the date on the calendar. This innovation becomes the conduit through which she establishes connections with the very aliens who have subsequently arrived on Earth. The girl's parents soon discover her work and demand that she stop. Offended by her mother, Lauren predicts a gruesome end for her, revealing her superpowers. Meanwhile, in the present, Lauren, learning the truth about herself, is overwhelmed with emotions. Suddenly, Robert removes her gas mask, and it turns out that she can breathe comfortably in the atmosphere poisonous to humans.
Welcome home.
It turns out that the stranger who found mention of Supernova 94 in his diary is a CIA agent who accidentally intercepted one of the messages that young Lauren dictated to the aliens. Now, mysterious egg-like objects are being discovered worldwide, emitting a toxic gas that destroys all living beings and clears the Earth for new inhabitants. It appears that the capsules are linked to the roots of the colossal tree, and all these events had been foreseen by Lauren in her childhood drawings. In the end, we learn that all earthly species and plants have become extinct, and Lauren has finally returned home. What do you think the military and scientists should have done to prevent the disaster? Share your thoughts in the comments below, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next videos.